First, we go into the program, and if that's all you're going to be doing is copying or drawing a frequency off of the software, you don't really have to calibrate. For the purpose of just making copies and doing things like that, I have a fake name, for example, Joe Public, and so I don't have a particular name associated with this activity because the name really brings the intent to somebody. Okay, so I got now Joe Public, and now usually, you would go to the lifestyle profile and do a calibration, but in this case, we can go straight into the program. All right, so now you can make a copy of any of the 70,000 frequencies or more that are in this program. But let's go to the allergen test here, which used to be the NATE profile, now expanded into the show method and so on. So let's say you wanted to make a copy of the egg mix vial, right? Or the egg mix frequency. Or make a vial of egg mix. Well, you just highlight egg mix. You put your vial onto the interface box. And really just set the timer at maybe 1 minute and click harness. And it's now charging or imprinting this vial with the energy and the frequency of egg mix. So that's how you make a vial. It takes about 30 seconds, that's all. Okay, so the lowest time that you can dial into a timer is 1 minute. So the blue bar here is about halfway through. That's all we need. So we've now got a vial of egg mix. Okay, label it and you have it. You can do that with any of those vials. Okay, you want spice 1. Okay, click on it. Put your vial on the interface box and hit the timer on harness, of course. If you're importing a frequency, which we get into later, then you definitely want to disconnect your harness because then that would feed aberrant frequencies into there, which you don't want. Okay, now the other thing you can do, okay, is let's say we're doing shellfish. Want to add digestive enzymes and DNA, which is something that you frequently do in a treatment. So just put your vial on the interface box and it will imprint it with shellfish, and then it will move on to base and DNA, which you will see in just a second. It will be on shellfish mix in this case for 1 minute, and then it will do 30 seconds of digestive enzymes and 30 seconds of DNA. So these are combinations that you can imprint on a vial, and you can use any combination that you can come up with. So now it's doing DNA, and that's all we put in there. So there's really 3 items in this vial that were imprinted. This is possible not just in the allergen profile. You can go let's say to the emotional panel, and if you'd like to do an emotion, let's say you want acceptance. You want the frequency of acceptance. Of course, you can do a feedback, as you know, but if you wanted for some reason to make a remedy out of that, you could put the frequency of acceptance as an emotion into this dropper bottle. Now, you could combine it with something else if you find that there is a certain combination involved. We were finding out that a lot of emotional stuff is actually due to genetic influences. I like to call it genomic stress from mutations, as you know, SNPs. You could do that. And okay, so we just imprinted this dropper bottle, which is water, with the frequency of acceptance. Of course, one thing you can do now is, let's say you wanted to combine this frequency of acceptance with you're suspecting MTHFR mutation is part of that, part of the problem, and you want to address that. So you type MTHFR into the search function here, click search, And here are the 3 different genes that are in a program that relate to MTHFR. Okay, so actually the component of the gene that has more to do with neurology than homocysteine and heart disease is this gene here, the component. And okay, click harness, and now we're adding this mutation to this emotion. So it's just a hypothetical thing. I just came up with that as an example, but you can do these kinds of things, and at times they may be, you can be very creative. Healing is an art, and you develop your own art form. So anything you want to search in that search function, you can find it. Another thing you can do, of course, is let's say you're doing a treatment on vitamin B complex, and you're doing a combination of acid, base, and DNA, let's say. Okay. So what we do is, we make a isopathic remedy of that very treatment, and you can do that really during the treatment. You don't have to really wait until after the treatment. You just while the patient is getting his feedback, you can imprint this water, or you can do it separately and charge the main layer, which is B vitamin complex, and then it will jump to, just like we saw earlier, to these combinations. So we call it additional feedback of acid, base, and DNA. And then, by the way, I instruct my patients to take this under the tongue every 2 hours for the next 24 hours. Just a general rule, but you may instruct them to just finish the bottle. If you want to neutralize a bunch of dirty vials, I call them dirty. Let's say you've used some of these vials and you want to clear them. Well, here's how you have to do that with the IMAET system. You have here the database where you can import your own frequencies. Okay, so in this case, you actually have to come up with a fictitious name. So I'm just going to put in XXX. Okay, and now. I put this, okay, I've collected a few dirty vials, and you click on the import function, and it asks you, please clear the tray for calibration, because it's now going to clean this plate, and so it will neutralize anything that's on there. So here we go, it's neutralizing those vials. Now the second step in this application we don't use because we're not really importing something. And you could just now delete it, okay, and it's gone. It's just to get to neutralize this thing, and you can neutralize a gallon of water on that thing, really. Okay, it's not just or one single vial. It's pretty powerful. Those are the things you can do about copying and multiplying and neutralizing.